Here it is then. Welcome to the first episode of my brand new podcast, Definitely Not Therapy. And I can't stress that enough. It is definitely not therapy. It's definitely not therapy. Welcome to Definitely Not Therapy, where I grab a different stranger every single week and we talk about all the taboo things that people just don't want to talk about. Every single person on the planet has got a story. Everyone has suffered with some form of mental health. Someone knows someone that's struggled with some form of mental health. So I just want to bring awareness about that from a personal point of view. I share a lot of my own mental health journey across my social media platforms. And the one thing that really irritates me is being told to constantly share, constantly talk. Talk, Dan. You've got to talk. You've got to talk if you're struggling. Talk about men's mental health. And then I talk about men's mental health or about my mental health and I get shot down. So the point is we're encouraged to talk about mental health and then we do and then we're kicked for it. We're kicked down, we're beaten down, and we're told you can't do that here. Social media is not for that. So my point is, I think you can talk about anything as long as it's on someone else's terms. Well, not here. It's definitely not therapy. Now, the whole concept of this podcast is that I'll be speaking to a different stranger every single week. However, my whole mental health journey began because of someone else's podcast and someone who I've now gone on to become very, very good friends with. It's a guy called Al Casey. As soon as he noticed online that there was a shift in my behaviour, he was phoning me every single day, messaging me every single day, whether it was to check I'm okay, whether it was firing office quotes at me, make sure I knew that he was there. And I think in a way I sort of owe my life to him. Also, because I'm really new to this and I don't really know what I'm doing and I don't really have a structure yet because it's all been very, very rushed. I'm just so excited about it because I just want to start this podcast and get things going. So let's just jump straight into it and we'll welcome Al onto the podcast. It's definitely not therapy. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Oh, okay. We're recording, are we? We're off.
Well, what do you want to do? We're just sitting chatting otherwise. What are we doing?
No, yeah, cool. I don't know, if you're doing the whole podcast thing where you go, oh, my first guest to this brand new amazing podcast, Definitely Not Therapy, is none other than social media mogul, the industry haemorrhoid that is Big Al Casey. So there you go.
You've done it yourself. That's fine. To be fair, I gave you a big, good intro before you came on because obviously.
Oh really? Did you say I was an industry hemorrhoid?
No, I didn't say that, but I did say that we'd had a long conversation today about you when I think it was a 10-minute conversation about how irritated you get when people are late, and then you were 45 minutes late for this podcast.
No, I did have a. Was that today we spoke?
Yeah, it was today. Yeah.
No, but today's are weird. No, yeah, I did. I was late. In my defence, I was at my son's school evening, parent evening, which was, I know you don't need a love story either, but I'm going to tell you anyway, which was the most monotonous thing in the world. And I don't want to get into rants, but some parents are just fucking idiots, as we've seen in your comment sections of most of your videos. But
yeah.
Sorry for being late. I do apologise.
No, it's actually okay. I just wanted to make a joke of it. The reason I wanted you on as my first guest, because the whole idea of this new podcast and this new project is I want to be able to give other people, people that don't have a voice, a voice, maybe to spread some more awareness around not just mental health, but the struggles of life, like co-parenting, working 3 jobs, loss in the family, marriage breakups, whatever it might be. There's lots of people that have had not just a basic struggle, but I just think you don't need to be, a CEO or someone famous to have a really interesting story. I think lots of people have really interesting stories, and I just thought it'd be something different, and it will spread awareness for, hopefully, the main thing for me is obviously mental health. It was something that for me wasn't, growing up, wasn't an issue. It wasn't it was just mental health.
It wasn't spoken about at all, was it? It's in any capacity whatsoever. No. And a lot of people used to compare mental health with mental illness. They're two completely different things.
Yeah.
So you did, that phrase, especially when we were younger, it was like, oh, he's mental. That means something completely different in the grand scheme of things. So, yeah, mental health, which it never. But I was the same when I was at school, when I was younger. You're not much older than me, but mental health just wasn't spoken about at all. No one knew what it was. No. It's more apparent now.
Yeah, I think the older you get and the more sort of pressure you get all these things that you want, you want relationships, you want kids, you want a house, you want a business, and then you do all these things, and it's like there's so much pressure involved with each one of those things that's added into the mix. It's like a load more pressure that gets thrown in. And actually, I just think it's hard. And I think for me, it really sort of hit home through like COVID and coronavirus and not seeing my grandparents who I was really close to. And this is what we spoke about on your podcast. And this is when it sort of really hit home for me. It was, like you said, the grief and mental health were sort of one of the same thing for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which I just didn't realise. Like I probably hadn't even grieved for my nan and granddad. And I remember being on your podcast and like that was the first time I'd spoken about it. And I remember, and I'd only met you that day, and I'd remember nearly like tearing up. But
oh yeah, we did. I thought we'd met previously, but yeah, you're right. Yeah,
it was that day. That was the first time that we met. Was on when you invited me onto the podcast. But this is the one thing I will say about you. Is I'd never really spoken about mental health before, and I think that might be it's probably the wrong term, but like a product of your environment. I never felt comfortable to talk about mental health. And I met you, and actually, we spoke about mental health, and I just felt normal talking about it with you.
Well, that's how it should be.
That's how it should be.
That's how it should be. And unfortunately, what's become of mental health in the last 5 years, it's almost become its own. I don't know. It's almost become its own brand, so to put it. So you see all these buzzwords now associated with mental health, like normalizing the conversation. It should be normal, and we hear people saying speak up, and we hear people saying, if you got an issue, talk to someone, and everything like this. But they've become almost now like buzzwords. So, and it's having that actual moment where you feel like you need to talk to someone and you can't, but you've got everyone around you telling you've got to talk to people. It's the hardest thing in the world. Sometimes all you need is a comfortable environment. And what I always say is, and at that point when you were, I think we were like 77 episodes deep, but one thing that we picked up quite quickly on was that not many people don't want you to save them. You're not looking for that. They just want you to listen.
Yeah.
Like that is literally all it is. Just listen. And if you can lend a little bit of help and lend a little bit of advice or a little bit of a hand, that's it. Because you cannot have solving the epidemic that is mental health unless you have conversations.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, it has become like a thing, and I get really angry around the whole mental health thing now, because when we launched our podcast, it was basically for that. We wanted to help people going through lockdown and coming out of lockdown, and we're going to be suffering with these new things that they've never felt before. They've never had any feelings of mental health or anxiety. I remember speaking to someone who I went to school with, and they were like that typical alpha male, the hardened male in school. They were a bit of a prick. I mean, I was going to say how it is. And he reached out about 10 episodes into the pod and just said, like, I've been listening along and I'm just struggling so much, and everything you're talking about is hitting home. And he was talking about anxiety for him. And it was that classic thing of you never think that this guy would suffer with anxiety. And he described it in the best possible way. He said, for me, it is a Rottweiler outside my bedroom door, and I know it's there and I can't step over it, so I physically can't get out of bed. But some days he wakes up and it's a Chihuahua and he can just jump over it.
Right, okay.
Where he knows it's there, it's always going to be there, and it's that constant thing the minute he opens his eyes, like, what's it going to be today? Is it a Rottweiler or is it a Chihuahua? And he steps over it.
That's interesting.
They're the sort of conversation we should be having, not, oh, we're the government, we're going to put 4 weeks into TV and get everyone talking, and then 4 weeks later just completely abolish it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying about it. Pisses me off, because it's like there's so many people out there that have gone through mental health problems, especially from COVID, financially now more than ever. And there's no help there whatsoever from the government to help. Like, the waiting lists for a therapist are insane.
Yeah.
You now have to pay privately to get a therapist. They don't limit content in the UK at all, so you can pretty much put anything out online, especially Twitter, where countries like North Korea, China, most Asian countries have limitations now on what you can see, and including that are things where we self-prophesize things that you think you need to have. So like, oh look, I need a new car. I'm scrolling through my, I'm going off on a tangent here, but I'm scrolling through my phone looking for a new car. Next thing you know, I've got 17 ads all telling me about these next new cars I've got. Right. And then they'll show you posts of influencers that have got next to a Mercedes that you want. And you're like, oh, I want that life. So you get yourself in debt because you want that life. The algorithms in those countries don't do that. They don't allow it because the government stepped in and saw too many young people killing themselves because they're seeing stuff online that they want and they can't get. So the mental health world the mental health world as it stands now, especially in the UK, something has to be done about it. Yeah. I think I said to you the other week, in the last, what are we now, 6 months into the year, seven. I've lost three friends through suicide.
It's mad.
I'm not talking about, and again, I spoke about this on Dan Draper's podcast, the difference between friends and mates. Yeah. And there's a big difference. I'm talking about three friends. It's the biggest killer of young men between the ages of 18 and 45. And nothing's done about it. Doesn't matter how many sports stars, and big up to them, people like Paddy Pimblett, and Jesse Lingard, who's come out and said quite a lot. Dele Alli come out and said a lot about his mental health. It doesn't matter how many sports stars are still coming out and saying something on a platform. Nothing's being done.
Yeah.
Nothing is being done.
Yeah. I think that's why you need to kind of... I don't think it matters what anyone does. I don't think it's ever going to be enough. I think that's the problem.
No, it's not.
But if you're going to do something like, I don't know, work from the kind of bottom up. Like, so let me give you an example. First time we met was your podcast. That was the first time we'd ever met, first time we'd ever had any sort of interaction. Done the podcast, spent a couple of hours together, went off and kept in touch here and there for 9 months?
Yeah, scarcely, yeah.
Scarcely. And then I announced I'd posted a video online, which you then presumably saw, which was about my separation. And I remember you phoning me probably every single day. Bearing in mind, we hadn't had that relationship before, but you were phoning me every day. You was texting me. You were sending me voice notes doing Ricky Gervais impressions or David Brent impressions, like reciting stuff, just stuff that you knew would cheer me up and make me laugh, so that when I woke up in the morning, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's made me giggle. I can't speak for you, and I wanted to kind of get your side of it, of what you saw and what made you reach out as much as you did.
I've been on that side of social media where you've got to keep up a presence. So when the character has to slip, because let's be honest, like all these people that are from that kind of old school Vine into Facebook and then into now modern day social media as it is now, are all that like hysteria of a character. So the content you made, Dan and Lucy, you're both playing abstract versions of yourself. Your life wasn't really like that behind the scenes, like far different, as we found out. People like Woody and Kleiny, who we'll probably get onto, they're nothing like they are on their camera in their vlogs. People like Aaron Kraskell, like a good friend of ours, like, again, you saw the struggles he had. So when you put the video up, and it's hard to explain really, but when you can see a man's broken, like physically broken in their face, and I don't mean metaphorically, I mean your face looked broken. Yeah. Like it didn't look like your face. It looked like a waxwork had melted just through the sadness of how much you've been crying. Yeah. And I thought, I know what you're doing by putting that video out, because you didn't need to let anyone know about what's going on. And it might not even feel like it now, but it was a huge cry for help. It was like, I need someone to come and fucking help me, and I need it now because no one can help me at the moment. And this is where people feel like they get it wrong. And I mentioned about, you don't need to be a saviour. You just need to listen.
Yeah.
You don't need to come in and tell them that your wife's going to take you back. You don't need to come and tell them that the reasons of why your marriage has ended is because of, whatever. I'm not going to mention it, but and you don't need people to give you the answers or even what you want to hear. You just need to listen.
Yeah.
So I felt almost, compelled to reach out because I know the courage that it took to put that video out. But I also, again, and this sounds a bit wanky, but I almost felt like it was not my duty, because that makes me sound almost like I'm a martyr, like I'm superior, but I'm not. And I'm nowhere a doctor. I'm no way a medical professional in mental health or psychology or therapy, like half these fucking idiots on TikTok think they are. I'm just an advocate. I'm just a simple advocate because, and again, it's a bit of a cliche, but the only university I've ever graduated from, the University of Life, and I've been through that mental health point where you cannot get your shark shit, and you cannot get any lower than shark shit. Like, it is the fucking bottom of the ocean. And I just thought, I can see the possibility of this man becoming another statistic, and as much as I don't have the power to stop that, I've got the ability to lend an ear and just give us small little bits of advice of how to break through the day. And listen, if you've got people that are going through stuff like that, you have to give them a little bit of like, all right, like, recite to me what's going on, tell me what's happening, and kind of agree with them on, if they're having a rant and they're going, right, then agree with them. Yeah. Like, say, okay, because they do need a little bit of confirmation about they're validated for feeling that way. So it just took me back when I saw it, and I reached out to Rick, and as I said to him, have you seen this video? And he said no, and then I remember him text back saying, oh shit. And then obviously, like, a lot of people thought maybe it was a prank.
Yeah.
Because they'd watched the first 10 seconds, and I then obviously watched it all, and I could, it's, I think for anyone that's ever been in that moment where they want to keep crying, but their eyes just simply won't let them. Like, you was in that position, and you could see that in that video.
Yeah, I mean, that was, so I filmed that. I filmed that with the purpose of, that in a year I could watch it. It wasn't for social media. I filmed it so I could watch myself in a year and be like, you survived, you did it, you're fine. Like, look at how you were. Like, as it happens, obviously, like, things take longer than that. And I think also that was filmed, I did a diary, so I filmed one every single day for a month of me talking to the camera, just telling the camera how I feel. And I think I only released 2 of those, but I filmed one of them every day for a month, just to kind of, just so I could look back in a year and be like, oh, that's the progression, or whatever. I don't know. I think I'd YouTube some stuff like how to get over a marriage, whatever. And that was one of the things I saw. It was like journaling and do a video diary. So I did it, but it was done. That first one was done pretty much the day it happened, and I didn't release it until no one knew, because that happened in November, and I didn't release that video until January. So I had to go through like Christmas, like no one really knew. Not my family didn't even know for weeks. I think I told my best friend, and that was it. So when I then released it, it was like a flood of, a weight off my shoulders, because now I've told the world.
You've got to keep up the presence. Yeah, I get that. And
I was still having to post, and I was having to earn money, but we wasn't filming anything, so I was, it was a struggle.
It's a mindfuck. Yeah.
I was appreciative that you had reached out, and what I would say is, since then, what I've noticed about you and mental health is, and we've probably spoken about this before, but you are the go-to for a lot of people, but you don't often talk about your own mental health, whether that's a choice or whether it's just because you're too busy, consumed with me phoning you up every other day going, oh, this has happened, rah, 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 and then someone else phone you, and then someone else, and you're the one that everyone seems to go to. Because,
do you know what? It's quite interesting because, like, my son said to me the other day, like, my house is an open door, and it always has been. And, like, my close friends that I've got, 3 of them currently are going through a divorce. 4, actually, thinking about it. And some of them are a bit more nasty than others. Some are a bit more spiteful than the other ones, and some are quite easy flowing, but still doesn't affect the way the person's feeling. And Connor said to me, like Dad, there's always people here on a weekend and they're just talking to you about how they feel. And I said, okay, well, how does that make you feel? And he said, proud. And that fucking just got me. I just went. I was like, oh God, like, it was
that's incredible though. And Connor is an incredible lad.
You know Connor. Like, Connor's he's a 12-year-old boy, but he's not, is he? Let's be honest. He's like a 45-year-old fascist cab driver. But he's just.
I remember Connor.
He's that kid.
I remember it was fairly recently. We filmed a video, all of us, and I hope I can cut this out if you don't want this story told. But it's a lovely moment for Connor. I think we was all filming a video, sat outside a pub, and basically it was you all being mean to me, and Connor walked off because he got choked up because it's like, why are you being horrible to Dan?
But he knew it was scripted, but because obviously everyone did it so well, I don't hide anything from him, nothing. I don't hide nothing from him.
No,
I think listen, social media opens kids' eyes to enough. Like, you might as well tell them the truth of stuff as opposed to the versions they see online,
and how you want it to be told as well. Exactly.
So he knows everything that's going on. I mean, he knows everything. Let me just say that he knows everything. So it's. He felt at the time, he was like, Dad, why are we doing this? It didn't feel right. Well, I said, he's fine with it. It's just a bit of a laugh. And the joke, what the video was, you're that annoying friend. And again, it's that thing, we're playing different versions of ourselves. Yeah. So you're that annoying friend that turns up at the pub and everyone's like, oh, fucking hell, here he is. And then you're like, God, let's have a game of Truth or Dare and do some shots. And I'm like, all right. I dare you to go home, when it's like the whole thing of like you leaving. But yeah, Connor got really upset. Yeah. But to go back to your question, so I do have a lot of friends that, they come and go, and sometimes I do feel like maybe I've made a rod for my own back because I just am that go-to. But I don't. And I've said this to my mate Mitch, who's going through something at the moment. I hope you don't mind me mentioning his name. I don't think he will. That I don't sugarcoat. If I'm going to tell him something that's going to upset him but it's going to make him feel better in the long run, then I'll do that. Yeah. But at the same time, if I need to at 1:15, one of the other nights the other week, I was just getting ready to get into bed. I like to go to bed early. I got into bed about 9:15, and he said, "Oh, do you want to go for a walk?" And I'm like, "Fucking hell, no." And I thought, I just want to go to bed. But no, I got out and went for a stroll. And he messaged and said, "Thanks, I really needed that." So I did that, and then I've got a friend of mine who's going through a divorce as well at the moment, who slept on my couch on Friday because he just needed a bit of time off. He's been signed off work, and we didn't. And I've got another friend who's going through a divorce, and I say to him, because with his particular divorce, it's been going on for like 4 years. It's so toxic. I mean, there's so much that's gone on. Yeah. That I've had to say to him now, come round to mine by all means, but we're not talking about it.
Right.
But I know that's the best thing for him. We're not talking about it.
Yeah.
We're not going to sit there and drink 6 cans of Cruz Campo and talk about it and procrastinate about it. And then you say all the things you're going to do and then never do them.
Yeah.
Because I do get frustrated by that. But I'm not in his position. So now with that particular friend, I'm just like, you're just here for company. Yep. Let's just have a good time and enjoy each other's company and see if we can build a bit more of a momentum going that way. But I kind of do and I don't talk about my mental health. My mental health is that of, do you know what? I've really dealt with it this year. For the first time in my life, I've really faced it head on. And I've talked with certain people that I didn't think I'd ever speak to them ever again.
Okay, so look, before we get into that then, can we go back to where it started for you, like mental health? Like I want to, because I know a little bit about your backstory. But again, because you don't open up and talk that often, I'm really interested to know. So you mentioned earlier about Woody and Kleiny, and I know that obviously you worked with them for a long time. So can we go back to that and talk about your mental health journey from there?
I did. I never particularly. A lot of people say you worked with him. We made videos. Like it's not really work, is it? Let's be honest. Which fucked about making videos, but
it's I mean, it's some people's whole career, so it's definitely.
Well, yeah, true. I mean, my mental health struggles started. I always knew I was different when I was younger. I always had that problem of not fitting in the big alpha male groups. I would always struggle in a big alpha environment, like a lad off. But I would also very much be one of those lads.
Right. So you was just pretending to fit in then? Is that what you was like
100%,
putting on the front?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. And I realised that from a young age that I latched onto male company really quickly, and that's just through my dad leaving when he did when he was younger. Again, like nothing really that he did wrong. It just didn't work out between him and my mum. He went to move to another country, and then my mum remarried again. But then he cheated on my mum and left. But I just had this pattern of every male role model in my life just leaving me.
Yeah.
So as a young child, I kind of realised quite quickly that I had to keep friends, I had to keep male role models, I had to keep male influences in my life close to me by doing things to impress them. So that's why I was always trying to do something different, whether it would be karate, football, baseball. I played baseball in the UK, which was crazy. I played baseball for England at one point.
I feel like that's a bit of a brag.
Well, it is a brag.
No, which is why it's odd to bring it up, really. But
yeah.
But I guess after, what was the other thing you said before that? Beat bopping or something. What did you say?
Bopping? Football?
Oh, football.
Bopping. I don't know if I'm giving it all up.
That's what I thought you said.
No,
I can't imagine him doing that. That's weird.
No. I mean, I'm not a bad mover, but I didn't body pump. No, I just tried everything. I just did. And even as I lived through my teens and later in life, like I did stand-up comedy. I went and I DJ'd. From when I was 18, I was DJing in China, Ibiza, Amsterdam, Egypt, lived in Egypt for 6 months DJing. I boxed semi-professionally for 2-3 years. I had a really bad back injury in a really big fight where a guy had been flown over from New Zealand, and my back went during camp, but I kept quiet about it because he was already in the country. And just before my walkout, I went and downed half a bottle of Jack Daniels just to get me through the night. And then as soon as I went in the ring, this was on like one of the back in the day, like on the 900 channels on Sky, so it was televised. I've gone into the ring. They played my walkout song wrong, which just fucked me over.
What was it? Barbie Girl?
No, it's a song called oh my god, what is it called? Foggy Dew. It's an Irish folk song. I got in the ring. We went to the middle, faced off. I went back to my corner, he went back to his corner. He came out, he threw a punch. I rolled it, and my back went, and I just collapsed, and I went into a spasm, started having a seizure.
On TV?
And then, well, yeah, and streamed across the internet.
Is that still available?
No, the stream went like dead. They cut the stream because ambulances were coming in. So my dad was watching in America, thought, fucking hell, what's happened? And the onslaught after that, because me and the guy who were fighting, it was very much behind the scenes. We agreed to hype the fight. Right. So I was like, I'm going to say this on social media now. Can you respond with this? And he would say the same thing. So we'd lie and make it up to sell tickets. And we were the biggest ticket sellers of the night. We were the main event. I think in ticket sales alone, I made like 800 quid, which for a semi-pro circuit is pretty good. And then I opened up my Facebook the day after I got out of hospital the next day, and I just was getting it fucking hard, like really? Pelt. And anxiety, that was the first time I'd experienced anxiety. I didn't want to leave the house. I took 3 weeks off work. I didn't leave the house. I put on 5 stone in weight. Actually, that's
not in 3 weeks, but just what, over a period of time?
Yeah, I put on about 4 stone, 4.5 stone.
Jesus.
And then...
And do you think we're going to try to lose that?
Very good. Very good. Who's out your window? It's definitely not Lucy. so then after that, I decided that I needed to sort myself out.
Yeah.
And then I met the boys. Then I met Woody Kleiny.
Okay.
I met them through Ian, who's my best friend. Neighbour Ian is more commonly known on that particular channel. And yeah, we started doing videos, and I'd expressed to them, a few of them, that I had mental health issues, and another one of the team, Ollie, we used to speak about mental health. I'd occasionally have these moments of severe anxiety and severe depression that would, again, because I was in that environment with them, and it's very much a lad off. It's all lads. It was who's got the best joke, and I just didn't do very well in it. So I'd always kind of get the brunt of the jokes, which kind of then went into the videos.
Because what I was going to say, if you're someone who, see, I have anxiety, and I think that can also kind of come with lack of confidence, lack of whatever, just all these other things, and going into then making content and putting yourself out online, I think is one of the hardest things to do.
Interestingly, you say that, because like for me, the confidence was never an issue. Okay. I never had a problem with confidence, but as soon as I had that after the boxing incident, I could never get my confidence back. I could never get that feeling of getting confidence back. The thought of going to DJing, I turned down so many gigs DJing because I just didn't want to stand there in front of people with all these people looking at me and I'm playing music. And being with the boys, I'd always hold myself back because I didn't want to say something that was stupid and everyone laugh at me. So my confidence was just shattered. And then we did the mental health video, the tattoo video, and that's when people started learning a bit more about my mental health and everything like that. I've
seen that video. And actually, I hadn't seen that video because before I actually went on your podcast, I didn't know who you... Yeah, but not no like I don't mean like who are you? Like I just thought you were a podcast host. Like you was an advocate for mental health. You did a podcast, so I didn't know that you made content. I didn't know you'd come from a background of making content with Woody and Kleiny or with anything. So going back to Woody and Kleiny.
So I ended up being in videos with them, and it would be sometimes a couple of times a month, sometimes it'd be once a week, sometimes it'd be once every 2 months. It just varied. But we did a lot socially as well. Like I like to think that we were friends before we were actually, I don't want to say colleagues, that's the wrong word, but definitely co-creators.
Yeah.
But it was a very because I get asked quite a lot why I don't do much of them anymore, and like it seemed to be like there was like a breakup, and like we stopped following each other and everything, and that's not too far from the truth. I'll be completely honest, but I was always kind of pro to speak negatively about them, and I think possibly in some light I was annoyed because in the way that we just stopped doing videos, I felt a bit let down and hurt, but.
Can I ask why? Can I ask what happened? Why did you feel?
I felt rejected. I just felt rejected. I felt like I'd been part of something to me meant more than what it did to other people in the team. Like to me, I was like, I've found these groups now. Like these are my group. Like we used to do loads of stuff. We went to Marbella together. Went to Vegas together. We'd do mad nights out together. Like we would just generally have fun. Like around my house, go around Paul's house, Woody's house, like, or parties at Ian's house, or just always, it felt like a big old family, and as cliche as that sounds, that's how it felt. But I think to some other people in the team, it was more like, no, this is content, and that's fine. That's
so they
fine.
treated
it wrong with that.
They treated it like a job, like it was just there, make content.
But then I think the lines got blurred a bit too much. Like it was like we need to go back to treating it like a job as opposed to treating it like a party all the time. And I think they decided to take a fresh approach and step back from me, Ollie and Ian.
Okay.
But they never really told us why. Just they kind of fizzled us out. We didn't fizzle us out. They just stopped making videos.
Just like that?
And that's the only thing I was ever really annoyed about. And then I wanted answers, and then the problem is when you get a bunch of people who all talk, and then there was other outside influences that were putting stuff in that just turned out to be not true, so it made me more angry, like really angry, like because I felt rejected. I felt like and again, this makes it sound like I was such a big part player of them. I really wasn't. I was just, but to me, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And then I've not bumped. I mean, literally, they live 30 seconds from my house. And in 3 years, maybe even before, I've not seen or spoke to any of them, except for maybe a couple of weeks ago. I bumped into Kleiny once in the pub and we just said hello and it was a nicety and that was it. But I bumped into Daryl, managed Daryl. And I only realised that the week before that he was in there and I'd not seen him, and Rick said, "Oh, did you not see Daryl? Like, I think he thinks you've blanked him." And I didn't even see him. And then I see him in a week later and I thought, well, do I go over and say hello? And I thought, do you know what? I think I'm going to. So I walked over and we just had a conversation and it was like, I don't know, it was like, what was all that about? Like, what was that? Like, and I don't get into details because they're quite private, but it was certainly a closure. It was certainly like okay, I can put that to bed now. Like this.
So do you think it was more in your head that you'd built it up over time? Rather than obviously
it like a motherfucker, yeah.
I'm not downplaying it, but I just want to state that I'm not downplaying it because I think, especially given your background and what you said about like your dad leaving and holding on to like male figures, and then to just be it's the same thing. You've just been dropped again for no reason. So I can understand why you'd.
And that was that's exactly how it felt. But having spoken to him and seeing like what other things that were possibly going on as well that I just wasn't alluded to. It was like, yeah, it makes sense. And would I have gone about it that way? No, probably not. And there was kind of like a bit of I was sorry for that.
Yeah.
And I kind of said, look, things that have been fed back or said to you, that these are just simply not true. Like, there's someone in the mix staring it. And I'm not going to get into details, but and we just we agreed to meet up and have a beer and it was so weird. I felt like, as cliche as it, I felt like a rock had been lifted, because it's that closure. I'm not looking to again, this sounds really sappy, but I'm not looking to jump back in and have that life of creating content with him. I just want to maybe be mates again. Like, just have that fun that we had as mates.
So that's the part you miss rather than the content.
Yeah. But I think there was a lot of. I used to get a lot of DMs of people saying, "Oh, you're trying to jump on their coattails. Like, they've worked really hard to get what they have, and you're just trying to do this and do that. You're beggy." And it's like with comments and online, you get so many shit ones. And I don't know if some of that whether was people thought that, but again, the mental health aspect that was flowing through that camp of people was unbelievable. Everybody had a struggle that no one spoke about. So whenever we all got together and we'd go out or whatever and we'd get pissed up, it was like the vlog that we filmed in Vegas, how carnage that was. None of that was like, let's do this to be funny for a vlog. That all happened. Like, we were just mental. Yeah, like, and it was rock and roll, and I think that's what Daryl said. He was like, "No, we're like, oh, we're on it. Like, we're a proper team now," which is great, and I'm really happy that they are. He said, but it was just rock and roll, and I think just at the time it was just a lot of things were mixing into play, and it didn't need to.
Yeah.
But I will say this, and I'm grateful that they gave me a chance, so to speak, on being in videos, because I wouldn't be talking to you. I wouldn't have done the podcast. I wouldn't have gone on to probably got some of the DJ bookings that I've got, which have been really good, and I wouldn't have gone on to now write and direct a film.
So, but okay. So, one of my questions was going to be, and not that this is or will be an option, I don't know, but would you have ever gone back into that fold? Would you have gone back into that life with Woody and Kleiny and made or even not with Woody and Kleiny, but just?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of 6 months ago, if you had asked me that, I'd have said absolutely not a chance. I wouldn't have even probably wanted to be in the same restaurant as them, just because I was so bitter and angry about feeling like I'd been just used and abused, really. That sounds a bit harsh to say. I don't quite mean it like that. I'm trying to be protective of their feelings now, which I find strange, because I wouldn't have done that 6 months ago. But I can totally see from their side now why things have gone the way they've gone. But do you know what? If they turn around and said to me, "Do you want to come and be in a video?" I think I'd probably give it a bit of thought probably, lean into the fact of saying, because it was fun.
Because I think from their point of view, and I don't know the guys, I've met one of them, who's the one that's married to Alex
Kleiny.
So I've met Kleiny, but only very, very briefly, and I've spoken to Alex before, because you sometimes see these people at events.
The circles, yeah.
Same circle, you sort of say hello. But for me, interested enough that I didn't know that you were friends with them previously and made contact with them, but I had like a jealousy of them.
Okay.
And I'd never spoken to you about this before, but the reason that I had the jealousy of them is because I used to make content with a friend of mine who used to make content.
Right.
And at the same sort of time as we were coming up, Woody and Kleiny were coming up. They were sort of a thing. We were a thing. We was both making, like, it was prank videos. It was who's going to get into Lad Bible this week. And I was smashing it. My social media was going up. Facebook was going up. Had this big following. Things were just about to get monetized. I'd had like 250,000 followers that I'd built on Facebook. And then my page got hacked. Me and my friend, loads went on there, which I've never really spoken about, not certainly in a long time, but we then just not friends anymore. And then Woody and Kleiny then sort of overtook us and then carried on going, and now it's this big beast of like millions of followers. And so I sort of had a jealousy for them, because that's the life I could have had. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, but obviously, things, and I'm glad things went the way they went, because I'm glad that I met who I met, and I've got my beautiful little girl from it, and I've still got a social media career that, let's be honest, I'm fucking holding on to with both hands at the moment, but I've got it and I'm doing my best, and it's there. So, but I had like a jealousy, like a jealous.
I can see that.
But they're nice guys, from I don't really know many people that know them, but they're nice guys.
Yeah, I think again, I made this quite clear to Daryl. Like, I've been on so many podcasts speaking about mental health, and I've never once spoke badly about them. It's just, I hate cliches, but everything in life, I think your destiny is panned out for you. I think you're meant to meet people when you meet them, and things are meant to fall in a line. I think it's, I do believe in that kind of. The universe is set up in such a way that you will meet people for a long time, because it's meant to be. So.
And also, you could argue from, like, looking at from an outsider looking into your life now, you've gone on to, look, social media is massive. Don't get me wrong, and loads of people make an amazing career out of it. But you've gone on to make a film or a TV series, and that's something that I know we've spoken about briefly, and I hope you don't mind me bringing up. But it's like, you've had comments, and because you've got this one troll, which again I think you've spoken about online anyway, so I'm sure you won't mind me bringing it up, but you've got this one troll that keeps like digging away, and it's like, but your philosophy is, but I'm doing something. All these people that think, I want to do this, I want to do that, you've actually just, and actually the reason we're recording this podcast today is because you kept saying to me, why are you waiting? Just do it. Just do it. And I'm not ready, but here we are. So you've gone on to make it was a film and a TV series, but can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so myself and Rick, Scully Dad, we kind of climbed a little bit of a slippery showbiz ladder of acting over the last 5 years, just getting our heads in anything you can. And we had some really good speaking roles in a few different films, and if I ever got into a film, I'd always say, like, is there room for this guy, or vice versa? And sometimes you'd turn up on set and it would be like he would get a better part, or I'd get a better part, and just because they changed the character based on when they see it. But we did a particular film, and it was released on Amazon Prime, and they had a premiere in Leicester Square. And I remember saying to Rick at the time, like, the way these lads have done it, just two blokes, is pretty impressive. The film was absolutely dire, I'm not going to lie. It was fucking shit.
Don't hold back.
No, well, the reason why, again, I just checked myself there, because I thought, well, why am I slagging off someone else's work? But at the same time, I think they admit they were shit.
Yeah, but also you can be. I think it's okay to be honest. You're a very honest person, which I will say. And actually, I've seen a preview of Perfectly Damaged, which is your project, and I've seen other people's projects, and yours does stand out. It is very, very good. I'm not saying that just because I'm in it. I'm probably the worst part about the whole thing, but it is brilliant.
No, not at all. But it just, with the other one, it was the half-assed it. Like, don't half-ass something. If you're going to say you're going to do it, do it. Like, and if you can't do it, say you can't do it. Like, I can't stand that philosophy of, I'm going to fake it till I make it, which I understand faking till you make it is okay to some degree, but don't out and out lie. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Don't let people down. Don't tell people you're going to be somewhere and you're not going to be there. Don't say you can get someone something and you can't. Like
a podcast, you're going to start at 6 o'clock and you turn up at 6:45. That sort of thing.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, or say you're going to hold on to a sustainable marriage. But, sorry. So I'm always going to be quicker.
You are, well, yeah.
So,
except in a race.
But to getting divorced. It's been something I just thought we can do it. So I wrote a script and I said to Rick, let's see if we can get this done. And I spoke to a friend of mine who's got a production company, and I said, right, let's see if we can get this made. Said to him what the idea was. I spoke to a streaming service and they gave me a budget. They loved the script. We blew the budget in the first 2 days. And yeah, I mean, that sounds all pretty like, well, this happened, that happened, this happened. That was the hard work to get to that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've spent so long wanting to be in front of the camera, but now realising that I'm really better behind it. And that's fine. I'm fine with that. Like, I mean, like I don't use my social media. Like everyone sees I've got 20,000 followers, which is piss all these days. Like you could get that in a week's worth of putting content up if you really wanted to. I've got a blue tick that I got through the system. Like I didn't pay for it. But again, that means nothing now because people can pay for it.
Yeah.
I don't use my social media like people use their social media. I don't at all. But I'm really good at writing ideas for other people.
Yeah.
So I will, whether it be Rick or Wilf or Ryan Tricks, I wrote some stuff for, and yourself as well, like write content for it. I don't ever ask anyone to give me money or anything like that. But I'm just better behind it. I'm better like saying this is a good idea, that's a good idea.
I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit about being in front of camera, by the way, because I do think you are very good at coming. You are very natural. And whenever you've done any takes on Perfectly Damaged, you've nailed it in one, because you've got the vision, you know what you're doing, but also you are quite natural in front of camera, and you are naturally, as much as this pains me to say, like you're naturally quite funny.
No, I know that.
Oh, okay. And
but no,
at least you're humble.
No, well, I'm definitely not. But I've been quite lucky with that respect because my uncle's an actor. He was quite a big actor in the 70s. His name's George Sweeney. He was in lots of stuff. And I grew up with his energy and his enthusiasm and excitement for making stuff and seeing him on screen. And I'd always do drama stuff at school. So I was always quite good at that. But I am quite good at seeing something and putting it on.
Yeah.
Like I've never done something where I thought, let's do this because it's going to look this certain way. It always looks the way. That doesn't make sense, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah. But then behind camera as well, sort of sitting there watching you, and bearing in mind, I was just, even on the days that I wasn't involved in filming, like I came down just because I'm so interested in the like behind the scenes stuff and what goes on, and just watching
what's good about that is that, sorry to cut you off, is that when people do come down to this, because again, people love to hate. I've got a saying like that I've used a couple of times now. First they hate, then they replicate. Everybody over lockdown was like, "Oh, I'm not getting TikTok. I'm not getting TikTok. It's for fucking 18-year-old girls dancing and people thinking that they can make a beef Wellington in 5 minutes and oh look at me, I can wash a fork upside down using this. That's a life hack. No, it's not. You're just washing up, you fucking idiot. Like it pisses me off, but. You came down, you were like, oh, this is like a proper little set. Like, this is quite impressive. And it's amazing if you put your mind to something and do your research. And this is what I said to people about making films. This is my first project. It's the first thing I've done. But I was never going to half-ass it. So I did my research. I found out what I wanted to do. I found out what things were going to cost to do this. I thought, I didn't know the purpose of a clapperboard. I didn't know what a clapperboard was there for. You see this thing go up, scene 1, fight 5, roll 3, action. I thought, what the fuck is that there for?
I thought that's just to look cool at the beginning of like the behind the scenes stuff.
I did. I did, but there's many purposes. It's there for focus, it's there for sound, like the clap has the sound. So it's like, you'll see when we do a take, it was like background, which means everyone be quiet, roll sound, sound's on. So whoever's in the headphones, roll sound, can hear sound. Let's back it up with a clap, action.
Do you know what? Do you know what the pennies just dropped for me? So I did 2 seasons of a podcast like last year. 2.5 Friends. You might have heard of it. This is pretty big.
No, I haven't heard it.
So anyway, my friend that came on that, Ricky.
What was it called? Lads, Dads, and a Couple of Beers.
No, that was the one just underneath us in the charts. We were just one above that.
Oh, did you chart? Did you?
No, we didn't chart. You know we didn't chart.
Okay.
You know we didn't chart.
Sorry.
And I said that knowing that you did chart. So well done. Well done you. But anyway, this is so boring now, but Ricky would clap because he's done some like podcast stuff before, and so we'd switch with the cameras on, then he would go clap, 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 and I'm like, what? Like, but it was to sync the sound. So that's the same for the clapper. It syncs the sound and the visual.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, it's so boring, but it's fascinating. But I love to come in. The point I wanted to talk about is why I brought this up was
it should be called the Tangent Podcast.
Yeah, it should be really. But was watching you behind. You knew exactly what you wanted behind the camera. No, behind the camera.
Oh, okay.
Just watching, just directing. Just you was watching. You knew what you wanted, and then as soon as it was finished, you were like, right, done. Move on to this. You were so like on it every single day of the filming.
I think especially on those 2 days that we did when you came down, is that we got to a point with it where, and again, I can see why some directors on film sets can be a bit arsehole-y, a bit bastardy, because I'm not there to protect your feelings. I'm there to get something out of you. I need you to be a different version of yourself. That's why it's called acting. Like, I'm not looking for Dan Lawrence online crying about his life. I need Dan Lawrence being a horrible boss to this kid and making him look like a worthless piece of shit. So, yeah, and again, like when we had Ian on set and I needed him to be more horrible to Connor, like I've had to say to him, like, come on now, you're playing a character. This isn't real. Like, you need to type in. But one thing I really enjoyed about the whole process is that it only clicked to me on that day at the school, that final day we were filming at the school. We had a really good actor come down who'd been in Top Boy, he'd been in like Adulthood, a lot of them kind of films, Noel Clarke sort of productions. And I was directing him through that scene, and he said afterwards, he said, like, I've done quite a lot of stuff. He said, you're quite a good experienced veteran director. And I was like, that's the first time. Which for me was enough. That's all I needed. Like, wow. I'm not saying I smell a BAFTA.
No, I didn't. Well, but who knows?
Yeah.
In all fairness, I didn't know that. But
no, I've never done it before.
No, I didn't know that you hadn't done. I knew that you hadn't done it before. I didn't know he'd said that to you, because I knew how good of an actor.
Yeah.
And don't forget, I sat in on that scene, some of them scenes that they filmed on that day, so I know how good he was. And
or I've just made that up to make myself look good.
If you have, well done.
Yeah, I think I might have done.
But now, even if he didn't say that to you, sorry, now it sounds like he didn't, because you've now said that. So you.
Do you think people really going to care about this? But do you ever do podcasts and think people don't listen to this shit?
People probably don't want to listen to it, but I'm not. So, okay, so the whole thing for me was when I did the first podcast, I was like, right, desperately, I need to earn money. And that was the reason for doing it. Plus, like, my friends sort of stepped in, could see I was struggling, like, right, let's do something. I need to start being creative. This time, I don't need to. It's not that I don't need to. Obviously, I need to earn money, but I'm not doing this as a project to earn money.
I'm just doing it for fun. Yeah.
I'm just doing this because I want a project to get stuck into. I want to be able to talk to.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Right. I want to be able to talk to real people. It's not that I'm desperate for any particular thing other than just to enjoy the moment while I'm doing it, enjoy the people that I'm talking to, and have those conversations. So.
Yeah, I just found, especially with podcasting, is that you sometimes. I listen to podcasts of other people, right? And it's like they often quite say, like, this is shit. Do people really listen to this? It's like Theo Von's podcast. A couple of times he'll go, God, this is fucking shit, man. And I'm like, this is the best episode. What are you talking about? Yeah. Like, it's things that just resonate. Listening to Gogglebox is a phenomenon. Like, people watch it. They watch people watching telly. The concept is absolutely ludicrous. Like 10 years ago, if you'd have said, or 15 years ago, if you'd said, we're going to make a program of people watching people, they don't fucking know. That's ridiculous. Yeah. But now we're glued to it. Same with Get Ready With Me content. You think, oh God, but you're still watching it.
Still watch it. Like, I think there's a place for everyone, and I think the people that will need to hear some of the topics that I'll talk about, they'll be the people that will watch. And if it gets 10 views, if it gets 100 views, if it gets 1,000 views, it doesn't.
Where do you sit with sort of like social media and comments? So, I mean, I've got a very conflicting opinion on comments. I think that if you're on social media and you are putting yourself out there and you're putting a version of yourself out there, whether it be yourself or alter ego, or whether you're a character or whatever, and you're putting up a video and you load it on a platform that gives you an option to either like, dislike and give a comment, you have to accept there's some level of negativity attached to that, because ultimately a dislike is a negative action. Not every comment in the world is going to be positive. So when people cry off about, oh, I've been trolled, and hear me out, and they say, oh, I've been trolled, and you look at the comment, it's not really a troll, it's just a difference of opinion. I can't really make a case for those people that do, those creators that do that, because I just think like, well, you're loading the gun, and you're not pulling the trigger. Like, you're expecting people to comment, but you only want them to say what you want to hear, which is quite narcissistic, which again is a buzzword we'll get onto. However, I have a strong problem with people that want to be overtly rude and offensive and personal. Like, if I, for example, the video we did in town, we were giving tickets away to a festival, and the first question was, what's a baby goat? A kid. Second question was, I can't even remember. What was it?
It was the pictures of the
who's the famous people?
Superstars.
That was it. Yeah, and one of them was me. I put, like, because I've DJed at the festival, like, so it was Lamar, Kim Wilde, James Bay, and then I said, and who's this other one? Jonah Hill. And someone again sent me a DM saying, why did you put yourself in there? Like, why did you put yourself in there? And I replied, because it was funny. It was just a joke. It was obviously like, I'm not famous. Well, no, and no, you are definitely, that's what you're trying to say. You're trying to say you're as famous as James Bay. And I said, no, that was the whole point. It was like, it was clearly tongue in cheek. And
also, I was there with you on that day filming. I was the other person in the video.
Yeah, I mean, I got called fucking Jonah Hill, for God's sake. Like,
it was, yeah.
And then this bloke went, you're nowhere near as famous as James Bay. James Bay is a music icon. You are he said something like, you are a fat, tattooed chav. Now, I looked on the guy's page and it was all just James Bay. He was a James Bay superfan. So he's obviously found James Bay in the algorithm, and he just come for me. And I just thought, but there's no need for that. No. There is just no need for that. And it's like some of the comments you get where you get called a narcissist, and that one just fucking gets my goat right up.
So, so I've got a few things to say. I'll let you crack on with that, because I know how angry it makes you, because we've had so many conversations about it. That comment and that person, that is the only person that ever makes that comment, and it's the same person. I could block them. I don't care. I know I'm not a narcissist. Which
I get. But again, and I've said this to you before, and I definitely will do it in the next 2 years. I'm making a documentary where I go after trolls in the street. Like, I'm going to go through the comments, I'm going to find their comments, I'm going to speak to them directly and say, why are you trolling? And probably get a little bit back. It's easy to find people on the internet. Everyone's digital footprint is there. I could find someone who's got a private account like that. And
you did it the other day.
Like that.
Or not the other day. You did it about 6 months ago when someone had left me a comment, and you was like, and we talked about this thing, and you went, this is who it is. This is where he works.
Yeah.
This is the opening hours of the company. It's easy to do. We could have just stood outside and waited for him. Like, if
you know how to use certain bits of coding on Google, you can find anyone, because they'd put their name in anywhere. When you say things like accept cookies, or when you do a stupid thing like, I don't know, would you like to win this competition? And you put all your details in. You don't need all that details. Where do you think that goes? It goes on a database. We can find it, no problem. But I'm going to make a documentary where I go into the street, and then I'm going to do street content, and I'm going to stop the person when I see them and go, oh, hi, do you want to try to win £100? They'll be like, yeah, sure. And I go, right, we're asking people questions about social media. Oh, okay, cool. So what's your favourite social media content? Blah, blah, blah. What's your this, what's that? And then go, okay, and how would you feel if someone said this to you? And then repeat their comment back. And they're going to definitely go, well, I'll be really hurt and upset by that. Rah, rah, rah. And then I'm going to print it out and go, well, why the fuck did you say this to Dan Lawrence? Or why the fuck did you say this to Woody Kleiny? Why did you say this to Aaron Craskell? Like, and just not with the idea of making them feel shit or bullying them, but to educate them. That's not cool. Like, you don't do that.
That's the shock. That is a shock value. That, I mean, that's great content. That's great for making a documentary that's great for social media, and it's a shock factor. He'll think twice about going and writing anything on the internet ever again.
But I had it with a troll. I had someone really, really, really go for me back in the Woody Kleiny days. And I found out where they lived and everything, and I managed to get their telephone number, and I rang them and just said, hi, I'm going to say his name's Michael, it's not. It's Mike. Narrows it down, didn't it? It wasn't Mike either.
That'd be brilliant. I'm cutting that bit out.
I did say that on a podcast once, his real name. Like, it is a shorter name. Like, say his name was Peter, I said it's Pete or whatever, but anyway.
Is it Pete?
No, it's not. It's not. So I said to this guy, like, rang him up, blah, 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 and he was just like, and we had a really good chat. He lived in Harlow, which is only about half an hour from me. Went and had a beer, and I'm not kidding you now. We've been mates 4 years. I'm going to his wedding this year. So yeah, I've turned a troll into a mate.
So I think that's
to get back to sort of comments that you've got. I think when we throw the word narcissist around, that is as bad as calling someone as damning as, I put it in the same category as calling someone a rapist, as calling someone a child predator, as calling someone a murderer, as calling someone whatever. I think that you can't just throw that word around because it's become a buzzword. Like, it has such a damning impact. And if you look at the true definition of a narcissist, you cannot base it off videos you've seen of content where they're playing a character. Yeah. Because the same people that the same on the flip side of that, a woman making that content, it's always, oh, this is so funny, hon, that's so funny, babe. Like, I'm not going to get into the detail, but a video that was made recently. Okay, fuck it, let's just say the video that Lucy made, where she got Harper in it, and it was like, why are you still talking to your ex? She's like, and then stuck the finger up. Now, you've got a good sense of humour. Like, I looked at it and I thought, okay, my only problem with that is if Dan did it, you're done. You are finished. Yeah. But the comments were, oh, that's so funny, hun. That's so funny, babe. You do you. What a beautiful young girl. Great. Oh, Harper. Look at Harper in his video. What do you mean look at Harper in his video? Her mum's just flipped her off. Like, what are you talking about? Although I've not got a problem with the video. I think it's funny. Yeah. I generally do think it's funny. And
it's if the role was reversed. It's if I made that video.
Exactly. Like, it becomes a massive problem. Like, it's... Yeah, you're this, you're that, and I do not get why people get so rallied up by other people online when they can just move on, delete, block. Yeah. I mean, the trolling message I got, which was, who do you think you are? Stop trying to be Steven Spielberg. Go back to being a plumber, you fat cunt. Like, okay, fine, whatever. Like, if it bothers you that much, don't watch it. Like, don't watch it. Yeah. Like, I hate Tottenham Hotspur. I'm not going to sit there and watch a game.
So I think from a content creator's point of view, I think most creators make most of their money off the hate they get.
Trolls. Yeah, probably.
Off the trolls. Which is
bad.
Yeah, which is bad. But I think what will happen is someone, and this is I watched an interview once with Ricky Gervais when he was first, like, I think The Office had first come out. He was getting quite a lot of fame, and he was kind of saying that what would happen is everyone loved him universally because he was brilliant and he's funny and The Office was a hit. But he was getting, everyone was saying, love you, you're incredible, you're amazing, you're so funny. And then what would happen is someone would say, you fat idiot. And he would then reply to that comment. So then what was happening is people were thinking, I want to comment from Ricky Gervais. So he would just get hate, not just get hate, but he would get a lot of hate because that's where the reaction is, not from all the nice.
Same with James Blunt. He rebirthed his career off of hate that he got on TikTok. Yeah, that doesn't make it right, but
it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right.
Negative into a positive thing, fine. But again, and there's about 5 or 6 trolls that you've got that are consistent, like they're there. Nothing would make me happier. And again, not from a place of malice or negativity or aggression or anger or hostility. I would love to get them around a table like they do the Actors Guild, like get them around a table, and then just Just everyone just share their opinion.
Do you know what the funny thing is? Right, sorry to cut you off.
That would be unbelievable content, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it would be. I've had, and just like relating to your troll that you phoned up, that you're now friends with and going to his wedding. So I've had, because I'll always take time in my DMs. If someone DMs me and they have a real pop, I will always acknowledge it, because I want to understand why they're so angry.
That was my thinking.
And I've had so many people where they've said, because I was for Facebook at the moment, we're having to use clickbaity stuff, which I hate. And I had this guy that messaged me, and he was like, "Oh, I've got daughters. I can't believe you're sharing that kind of content. It's disgusting," and blah blah blah. And he DM'd me a similar thing, and I just went back to him and said, "Look, I'm on your side. Like, I agree with everything you said. I agree with. These are the reasons I do it. It's because I have got a little girl. I've got to feed her. This is the only thing that's paying me any money at the moment. And as soon as I can stop doing it, I will. But that's what we've been encouraged to do. So that's what I'm doing." But it was a lot deeper than that. It was a longer conversation. He come back and was like, "Fair play. The fact that you've even just said you agree and this." And we had a conversation for half a day just chatting about all the problems that he's had. And he was also like, "Actually, I'm sorry, I've probably had a bit of a bad morning and I sort of took it out on you." And a lot of trolls, that probably is what happens. They've had a bad day and they think the easiest thing to do, I'll go online.
People see people like you on social media and think life's made because you've got a blue tick, 1 million followers on TikTok. I mean, have you got on Facebook?
Like 450,000.
Right, yeah, 500,000 on Facebook, and they think, "Fucking hell, that's the life. He's living the life." Like, I had those same opinions of people when I had 10,000 followers on Instagram 5 years ago.
Yeah,
and I remember talking on a podcast, and still to this day, there's some weeks I suffer like everybody else. I'm pulling out the sofa to find 50p to get a loaf of bread. Like, I've noticed been times when you can't put fuel on your car. Like, I am robbing Peter to pay Paul quite often because it is hard. But like you, I'm sticking to it because, look, I'm a plumber by trade. My knees, my hands, my elbows, my shoulders are fucked. Like, I'm done, and I'm not even 40 yet. I can't do this for the rest of my life. There's got to be more out there because, like you, we have a vision to be creative. And again, that sounds like a cliche. And people go, "Oh, vision to be creative, that's wanky." But it's true because the people that make you happy in your life, the film stars that you go and watch, the music that you listen to, the artists that you watch or listen to or whatever, the clothing people that make the clothes that you like, they're all creative people. Yeah. They all make stuff out of creation because their minds work in a different way to yours. So why do we have to live in a world where we're going to hate on people for trying to do something?
That is the world we live in. That is the world we live in, though. We do live in that world.
What are you saying to someone if you're having a go for trying?
But we're also in a world where we think that you have to work a 9 to 5. That the comment I get most is, go back to work, go and get a job. I have got a job and I work really hard on my job. It's just the same with any job. Some days you don't like it. Some parts of the job you don't like. But I think we're in a new world where you can make a career out of this, and I
agree, and I'm at that point now where I see the people around me, and they're people that are really close to me, and some of them I'd even consider as like really good friends that I'm going to distance myself from because they're holding me back, like because they're happy settling with what they've got and where they're at. I'm not doing that. I can't do that because they might have stopped their job and be able to settle with what they've got and making whatever they're making a month, but I'm still having to work like my arse off. I'm still having to DJ late into the night, sometimes at weekends. I'm still having to be out there writing film scripts or writing content for people or lining up this meeting for this production company or doing this. I'm pushing myself out there every minute, as well trying to be a father, as well as trying to be a family man. You know, I think at some point you do realise that if you just keep going, something will give. Because as it's happened over the last 10 years of my life, every time that I've pushed on that little bit for something's given way, something's come into the fold, something's appeared. So,
well, it's like you say, everything happens for a reason, and
I think so.
For me, I was like, I felt like I lost so much, and social media was just one thing I wasn't prepared to just walk away. I wasn't prepared to lose another thing. No, I didn't want to lose another thing.
And you shouldn't. You shouldn't.
Yeah. And just because it's about to finish, so we should probably wrap up. I did have like a couple more questions for you, but talking about creativity, let's finish on, we are writing a script. Should we not talk about that?
If you want to know more about the script, check out this bonus episode, and we'll record a bonus episode.
Oh, okay.
We can do a 20-minute bonus episode now.
We'll do it right now.
Yeah, fuck it. Why not? Why wait? Like I always say to you, why wait? Do it now.
All right. Well, I need to my
What's your
battery
wanking time? 8:05 or something?
No, I've got nothing going on in my life. You know that.
Well, apart from masturbating.
Not
I bet
even
you're
that.
red raw at the moment.
I think
You
it's
probably
cut
won't
out.
cut
I
this
can't. Is that? Where has he gone?
No, I'm still.
Oh.
Recording stopped.
It's definitely not therapy.